Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We're going to start this game with a couple of replay reviews. First, of a game that I just played because I thought I was on camera and I wasn't. And so while it's still fresh in my head, I thought I'd do the review of it here. Turns out I, in fact, recorded 26 hours of just my computer sitting around doing nothing because I forgot to hit stop recording. Or no, I accidentally hit start recording at some point. Because it wasn't, like, it didn't even start recording while I was playing Prismata. It was just like, who knows? Anyway. So I got, 30 gigs of video to delete now, I guess. But, okay, so I played this game and I thought I was on camera. And it's too bad you guys didn't see it because it was kind of cool. It's a base plus 5 set, and I actually spent a very long time trying to figure out how to play the set. As you can see, like, here I'm white, and, like, I spent even more time than I usually do, right? Usually, okay, in 45 seconds, I play turn 1, and then I wait 45 seconds and, like, thinking about what to do, and then I commit turn 2. But I actually used up some time bank on this one because I really don't know what to do in this set. I sort of thought there are kind of two main approaches. You could try to get Apollo. Like, there's not a really strong reason to go high econ in this set. And so, well, I mean, there's plausible reasons. Right, Apollo can snipe some cool stuff like Phage. But you need a lot of defense to survive, to, like, get the Apollo established. And Bombarder is a lot of defense, and it's a blue sync. So, like, that works really well together, actually, with the Apollo. And, like, also Blood Phage works with Bombarder because you don't have to commit to spending your second red if you don't want. Like, you can get one Phage, and then, like, every turn spend... you could have 7 drones if you wanted. It's not likely, but, 7 drones is all you need to buy a Bombarder every turn, right? We'll call it 12, I guess, because you got an Apollo, so you have a spare blue floating around. Like, Bombarder wall every turn, clicking Phage, like, that's enough. You could do it. You would want more, but the point is, like, these are very high-tech units, these two here anyway, but they have a relatively low gold cost to their tech, so... Maybe you could support the Apollo even though there's not stupendous defense. But actually Bombarder is, like, pretty great defense too, right? The trick is that once you've started buying Bombarders, you can't really start buying Apollos anymore. Like, you can't take a break and buy an Apollo. It's too hard. So you have to have, like, bought the Apollo first and then transition into Bombarders, and that's kind of hard. Because what were you doing with your red on the turn you bought an Apollo? Did you get a Phage? Have you already bought attackers? If so, the Apollo's not so great. I don't know. And so the other, like, main strat is these 3 things. Really, like, I don't know. I think the Apollo strat would clearly not use Protos, but it might well use Phage, and it could use Kinetic Driver, maybe. Maybe like this. And the Proto plan clearly doesn't use Apollo or Bombarder, but it might very well use Kinetic Driver and or Blood Phage. One cool thing about Kinetic Driver is if your opponent is threatening to set up an Apollo, you can try killing off that Apollo, or killing off a Blast Forge at a key moment, if you have access to Kinetic Drivers. The other thing is that, like, the Apollo player could, in theory, do that too. Like, if the game goes long enough that they can, get a green along with their triple blue-red, they could maybe snipe your only Animus and make it difficult for you to get Protos and overwhelm you. I don't know. So I eventually, like, I came to the conclusion that the red-green thing seems a lot easier. It's a lot less delicate, right? There might be some way, because Bombarder is a pretty good defender and also pretty good pressure. It might make the red-green player, like, lean back enough that the Apollo works. And if it does work, it'll be great, right? Sniping Phages is pretty strong. But I couldn't it seemed like it was going to be really hard to do correctly, and doing this is pretty solid and should be fine and isn't that hard to execute. So I decided not to get the third NG and to instead just go DDA next turn. I figured opponent's opening would possibly be Fastimus into Phage plus Drone, but more likely, since you want green anyway, you can wait on the red. DD, DDC, DA into like Phage Tarsier or something. But, you know, at least I have a head start on the Phage this way. Opponent actually didn't do that. They grabbed a kinetic right away, which actually seems pretty reasonable to me. I didn't think of it, but this part of the problem with the early Phage is that you can't easily spend your red and your energy on the turn that you buy it. You have to skip one. And the earlier you get the Phage, the less options you have, right? If you get Fastimus, then like you have to skip the red and spend just your energy on Phage Drone. If you get Conduit and then Animus, you can like get Phage Tarsier or Phage Drone, but not all three. If you do it this way, you could actually get everything. You could spend all your stuff if you wanted. And with Proto Inset, you can afford a pretty reasonable econ, so you might very well want to get like Phage Tarsier Drone or something like that. And, you know, kinetics will be good against this red stuff anyway, so sure. Plus, I don't want to build an Absorber this turn, so the kinetics getting some value here. So, I don't know. Seems plausible. I didn't think of it. I don't know if I love it, but it seems okay. But then they surprised me by going for blue right away. I don't understand this. I think the main attackers you want in this set are red and maybe green. And if you wanted Bombarder, I thought you would have skipped the green and probably gotten a third NG. Like, you need a lot of drones to do all this stuff, right? So I'm not sure what this blue is all about at this point. I guess walls are cool, but do you really want your attackers to just be kinetic drivers and walls? Like, that doesn't seem like what this set screams for, right? Proto's way cooler than wall. And it's the right tech to fit with kinetic driver. So did I spend any time on this turn? Yeah, a moderate amount, yeah. So the Rhino's clear, but what to do with the rest of the turn is not. I was toying with getting a Blast Forge, getting a Conduit, getting another Tarsier. I guess I didn't actually think of the Blast Forge. Yeah, green is what I want here, not blue. That's right. I eventually decided that Drone NG was more important than Tarsier. Right, I can either buy... Wait, really? I could have gotten a Phage here. I didn't think of that. I got Tarsier Drone NG, which is, like, fine. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is correct. Or no, I got Conduit Drone NG, that's right. You can't get Tarsier Drone NG. Because I'm about to lose this NG and I'll need granularity against whatever they do next turn. Because I don't want to just like have just Rhinos and force fields to defend, because then they have no incentive to build another attacker. So the NG makes some of their options less good, was my thinking. But so Phage would have been interesting. But it would have been problematic because I don't have access to green for like quick defense and I don't have granularity. I think that Conduit Drone NG was better, but I should have thought of the Phage, which I didn't actually. And opponent keeps going on the kinetics, which good play, right? It made me force field, which I don't really want to do. And I picked up this second Conduit so that I can set up Protos, right? Opponent is now attacking for enough that Protos will be good. But in the back of my mind is like these kinetic drivers, right? Any minute they could snipe a lot of tech and I need to not be in too bad a shape if that happens. So I grabbed another NG here, even though I know I'm going to be granular already. I don't know, maybe this is another turn where, like, Phage would have been better, right? No, because I really wanted the second conduit so I could get Protos. Okay. See how smart I am? I make the right decision all the time. This time I didn't even consider, apparently, or I didn't put on the table. I don't remember if I considered it. Getting a Tarsier instead of this drone NG. I think... I don't know, why not? Why wouldn't I even think about it? Tarsier seems alright here. I should have enough defense that... Oh no, I do! I remember, I think I talked about this. I was just wrong. I was thinking that I'm going to put down a Proto next turn, right? And a Proto absorbs 3. And they're attacking for 3. And they could very well, I thought, add 2 more attack next turn with, like... They had built so many NGs that they could go Kinetic Driver or Splitter this turn. And that would be 5 attack. And to absorb on Proto, I would need 2 health, and I... Oh no, that's totally right. I'm so smart. Yes, exactly. So, I'm only losing this force field, so I'll still have 1 NG left, and I want to make sure I have 5 defense available next turn, including 3 from Proto, so the second engineer is protecting against them going like Kinetic Splitter. Yes, okay. Another good play by me. Amazing. And now I know why you guys watch. If only I could remember them 10 minutes later, huh? And they got this second forge, which is just so bizarre. I don't understand what that was all about. I guess more walls? So, yeah, okay. They actually got a second forge and then didn't spend the blue at all. But they're clearly, like, setting up Apollo now, so at least the second forge makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I guess we should look at my turn, actually. I just wanted to skip ahead to see what they were doing, but obviously, like, what I was doing is pretty important, too. We get the Proto, this much is clear. And at this point, I was like, okay, opponent's getting Apollo. Fine. I don't have a lot of permanent attack, so maybe the Apollo's actually gonna be okay. Actually, they're not yet signaling Apollo. They could just be trying to get Bombarders down. Seems like a weird line for either of those, really, but something like that. And, like, I don't actually have that much pressure. And I was worried they were going to, like, try to lock me out of Protos by sniping my Animus. Because they can do that anytime, right? So my thinking was, okay, I don't really want 2 Animuses. But with, like, 14 income a turn, and spending all of my green, green, red, red per turn on a Proto, and that's just $7. Like, I should have some money left over, right? And I'd kind of like some more tech. So I bought this Animus with the idea of getting more phages, another phage or 2, so that I sort of become immune to his sniping my Animus, right? If I'm selling back 2 red every turn by clicking phage, and then opponent snipes my Animus, I'm like, oh, no worries, I'll just sell back less red. I'll click 2 fewer phages and have the same amount of red available that I did the previous turn. Was my thinking. And in fact, this next turn, I have a great setup. I have Proto, phage click, phage. That spends my 4 red, and it gets me perfectly set up for that flexible red amount I was talking about. But opponent puts a wrench in the works, actually, by nailing my conduit to lock me out of Protos this turn. So now suddenly I have more red than I can use, and I can't buy, because I can't buy Proto, this like super cheap red sink. Not exactly a red sink, nor is it super cheap, but it spends red cheaply anyway. More cheaply than most things. And on top of that, I need to rebuy my conduit. So I don't know, it's all pretty sad. I managed to get the second phage, but I can't quite spend all my red this turn, which kind of sucks. And I can't even get another conduit either. Also sucks. So I don't know, grab the drone. They're not going to have that much real attack. And I need more income, apparently. I don't know. Maybe this should have been an NG. No, I have this Rhino coming off of on defense. That's right. Drone's fine. Now they realize they can't get Apollo. Wait, why not? They're $1 short because they clicked the kinetic driver. Oh, man. Well, yeah. Maybe because of the force field, actually? Wait, why? Why force field, though? For granularity? But I won't have any granular attack left if I've clicked this Rhino. I don't know. This force field seems a turn too early. It preserves granularity, but it costs you like $2, right? And suddenly they can't buy the Forge. They can't buy the Apollo. So I didn't realize during the game why I got this reprieve. They got a third Forge but didn't buy Apollo. I thought it was because I had been putting on a bunch of pressure, but like, no. They just bought a bunch of excess walls because they failed to budget correctly. And then did it again? Wow. I'm realizing this game was less close than I thought. Opponent made some very, very questionable plays. And then they sniped both Animuses, I guess, to again lock me out of Proto. And this time they have $13 left, so okay. Was I doing anything interesting on these turns? I don't know. I rebuilt my conduit. I got a Proto because I'd accumulated some green, and you know, nothing very exciting, I guess. I maybe should have not been buying conduits since opponent wasn't attacking. No, they attacked here. Yeah, that's fine. They sniped all my Animuses, so I got another. And have you guys noticed yet? I made a mistake. I attacked for 8 into this instead of 7. I threw away a Rhino charge. And so I emoted about it. I don't know if opponent knew what I was emoting necessarily, because it wasn't very clear, but wasted a Rhino charge here for no reason. They finally get the Apollo, but they have so few drones and so little attack. And then they throw in this Animus to start getting bombarders, but that's just like highly optimistic. Getting the Apollo has sacrificed so much tempo that I just start buying 3 or 4 attackers every turn, not wasting my time on protos, and they're falling apart. And then they gave up. So, I don't know. I still feel like this red-blue thing could have been pretty good, but opponent had a lot of trouble with it. Like, if you were to get third NG into skip conduit, Animus first, I don't know. I have no idea. That's why I didn't do it. I couldn't figure out a build that involves these 3 units that works well. But if there is one, it seems like it should be pretty good against what I did. Okay. And the other one I had was just a Masterbot game that I thought was kind of cute. As always, like in these Masterbot games, Masterbot doesn't play it very well. I don't always beat him. I usually beat him, but it doesn't really prove about anything about whether what I did was good in this set. So what would you guys do looking at this? Feel free to pause the video if you like. There's a few interesting like features here. Like notably, Mahar and Chieftain are like pretty amazing defense. You could argue that in such a set, maybe Deadeye should be played. I don't see much reason for Mobile Animus or for Chrono Filter. But Smorkus is a good reason to dip into red, and or it enables dipping into red, and Gaussite is like kind of a good reason too, maybe. Auric Impulse is also cute. So you could try that. I'm not sure whether what I did was actually good, but something came over me, and I was like, well, I want to try this. Yeah, that's the nice thing about playing in these low-stakes games against MasterBot. You can try silly things and like see if they feel at all good. And I decided I would go for like a turn 2 Animus, where, of course, because you have Auric and you're not planning to buy drones next turn, you should buy Aurics this turn instead of drones. I thought like Gaussite and Smorkus are good ways to like buy some really cheap fast attack that would cause trouble to someone trying to do something slower. Right, that's something that always gets me when I go for Mahars, is they're a good absorber, but the fact that they're non-prompt and cost $11 means they're really hard to respond to a rush with. I always, like, I feel like when I try to go Mahars and my opponent rushes me, I'm in trouble. Even though Mahars are a good defender. And so it seems to me when I do things like that, that it works a lot better if I have some blue as well, and I get the Mahars a little later, so that I can like get walls quickly and then Mahars eventually. And so just going just Mahars, I thought would have some trouble with a very fast red. And with Smorkus, like, hey, why not? You're not committed to the red once you buy it. This is just a good way to get some early attack in. So I grabbed the Animus, why not? And Symbiote, I had looked at as being a good thing to get red for. So let's grab one, right? If it's going to be a low econ slugfest, you know, having access to force fields is pretty great. And also the threat of a click is great. Here, now, okay, let's do the thing. Like, I have drones on the table, right? Should they be Aurics or should they be drones? Is it possible that I'll want to buy 2 drones next turn? No, it's impossible. It'll never happen. Not after buying these 2 anyway. Might I want to buy 1 drone next turn after buying these 2? Maybe. I might. Right? I might want these guys and then buy Smorkus plus drone. I have $10. So I decided, therefore, to convert only one of these drones to Auric and finally cement one of the drones I could have bought on turn 1. But remember, that's the deal with Auric Impulses, right? Is it's a drone you don't have to commit to if you're willing to pay energy for that privilege. So I'm now finally committing to, like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll get a 7th drone. You know, selling back drones is always like a really powerful ability to have, right? When defense starts to get to be tough, you're like, ugh. If you hold a drone back for 1 defense sometimes, and that's way worse than selling it for 3 gold if you could like use that gold to buy defense. Typically. And so you would prefer, if you could, in many games, to sell drones. Auric Impulse lets you do that. And I think it's more impactful the lower econ you have, because that's a bigger percentage of your economy that is available to instantly turn into money, right? If you sell back your 27th drone, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess, sure. But if you can sell back like drone number 7, because remember, I had 6 drones. I wasn't ever committed to even buying a 7th drone. I could sell back 7 and 8 whenever I want. And that's a really powerful surge in these, you know, red mirrors where you just get a bunch of money all of a sudden. So I reluctantly committed to a 7th throne and kept floating the 8th as an Auric. Opponent sort of predictably gets a Rhino. Yeah, so this is an interesting play. It feels natural here to get a Rhino, right? And maybe I should. This is a thing that I'm never quite sure about, but I've been talking a lot recently about how absorbing Rhino clicks is fake and you should just let the Rhino hit you. Here, like, if I built Rhino, Opponent would hold their Rhino, which is like a little bit worse for them than clicking it, but not a lot. It just means it's harder for them to get the Rhino defense value. They would eventually kill an engineer. Here I'm saying, go ahead, kill the engineer right now. It means you'll have to build even more defense, right? So it's not the end of the world. And this is like an astonishing amount of tech to have for 7 drones, right? Green, red, and blue. But Smorkus is there, like, I bought the Smorkus so I can stop having red and start having blue instead. My plan being for, like, most of the rest of the game to just build a wall every turn and nothing else. Maybe, like, wall Gauss Cannon or something on this coming turn when I have $11 for the last time ever. Or keep floating the Auric and just buy walls, you know, who knows, something. But getting rid of the red here. Now here, this wall, okay. You know, should opponent really click 2 Rhinos to deal 1 NG damage? Probably not. But they might do it. Masterbot certainly will. And more importantly, it might actually be right for them to do it just because they need the Rhinos to defend soon, and you might as well get at least a little bit out of them, killing my NG sooner. So, I just built a wall, continue floating the drone. And getting the Smorkus click in means opponent has no granularity, which must be nice. But actually it really didn't matter because I kind of had to... Ah, no, I found a way, yeah. I was thinking, like, I kind of have to attack for 3 here. There's no way I can spend all my red this turn, right? Except without clicking the Smorkus, and the Smorkus click doesn't do anything. But in fact I can, right? I can sell this drone back to get me the ability to buy Splitter and Smorkus. And sell a drone here as well on a force field. Seems pretty great. So like here, that Auric that we got on turn 1 is finally being sold back. And we've gotten a giant tempo boost. And so for the rest of the game... Oh yeah, sure. I took the Gaussite click, because I don't really want green much longer, and 6 damage is a ton to deal with when you're on just like low econ red. So I said, help, you know, have fun, here's 12 damage. Okay, really it's 11, but... And sort of breach, and like, cool, we beat Masterbot, congratulations. But it was kind of a neat, like, I don't know, super low econ, a lot of tech. I think like these Smorkus openings are something that I should explore more. Being able to grab, even when it's not a low econ game, picking up an early Smorkus to make your opponent like build some defensive tech and then a defender that they didn't really want to commit to, and then you can just like sort of sell back your red by clicking the Smorkus. It's not that bad. It's kind of cool. You maybe wouldn't like open with a Smorkus right away. Normally in like a mid-econ game, you get red and then 2 Tarsiers and then a Smorkus or something. And now you're like doing 4 damage and you don't have to spend red exactly anymore. So it's kind of a problem for your opponent. Something to try. Okay, well, cool. So we looked at a couple games, and I think that's actually going to be it for this episode. I thought we were going to do a game, but I spent long enough on this game here. I think it might actually have been longer than the game itself was. Yeah, it only took 12 minutes in real time, and I probably looked at it for longer than that. Alright, so I guess that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.